Chelsea, welcome to the cave. Thank you for joining me
Thank-
today.
And thank you for having me.
Listeners of viewers of the interview can see you on your latest project, Ginny Georgia season 2, which I believe I just heard a little while ago. Number 1 on Netflix. Is that right?
Oh yeah.
How exciting is that?
It's mind-blowing. It's so amazing that like it happened during season one and that it's happening again during season two. We're so excited.
So, in season 1, it ended with cliffhangers, of course, and from what it looks like so far, it kind of looked like NORAH and Jeannie are not friends anymore. In season 2, right where people are tuning in, the drama continues.
Oh yeah. It was so funny to like leave everything on such a big cliffhanger just to like start it back up again in season two because it had been so much time with like COVID and
Right.
everything that we hadn't been filming for a few years. And so when we got back, it was kind of a moment of like, okay, do we like each other right now? Do we not like each other? What is this? Because I haven't seen you in a while and I'm really happy that we're here together, but
Right, right. So we're gonna
yeah.
jump a little bit more into this current season also. But I was trying to do some research on you and everything. I love how you've done a little bit of everything, writing, producing, acting. It's like,
Thank you.
how did you decide to get into the industry?
Wha- Great question. So when I was like five, I asked my mom to put me into voice lessons,
Okay.
and that kind of like spiraled from there. I had been in piano, I was doing voice, and then I started doing musical theater. And it was from the music school that I was going to that I actually got scouted by an agent to start doing TV and film. So I was
Mhm.
11, I think.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was kind of more of a situation where I just loved what I was doing, and this was another way for me to continue. And then cut to like 12, 13, 14 years later, and I am still in the industry and I love it. I love how much of like a living organism it is. I love that you can grow with the industry. Being stagnant in the industry, I think, is only as stagnant as you allow yourself to be to a certain
Mhm.
degree, obviously. But I love that in the arts, there's always room for growth and there's always room for creativity. And I just think it's such a wonderful place to be. I really love it.
Now you mentioned voice. Was that like voice for like voiceover work at first? Is that what you're
No, it
doing?
was for
Okay.
singing. Yeah,
Okay, I just
singing
wanted to make
classes.
sure. Yeah, because I know
Yeah.
some people say they do voice work, and that's why I was.
Hmm.
Uh, so, and how did the other thing started? Like, and what made you like, okay, you wanted to get into acting and everything, but like now you want to work behind the scenes also.
Yeah, well, I have always loved reading and I've always loved
Okay.
writing. And so I think when I started in high school, we had like a writer's craft course, and that
Hmm.
was my kind of introduction to writing. And I was like, oh, this is so much fun because you can say so many more things with words. You can say things with your like face, but you can also say things with words that you can't exhibit on screen. Whenever you watch a movie that's based off of a book, there's always something that's kind of
Right.
missing because each person kind of creates their own understanding of, the characters that are written down. And so for me, I loved the idea of like creating things that I resonated with and being able to have things from my point of view and like from my voice. So I think that it was just kind of something that was always there, but I'd never, tried to do it. So I had the wonderful opportunity to work on Ezra and to write for a Filipina character. And I really wanted to take that in stride and just, kind of create someone that I would have loved seeing on screen, be it like 5 years ago, 10 years
Right.
ago, and just see someone that kind of I resonated with as a person that had a similar lived experience than me and just kind of feeling that representation.
Mm-mm. What's your favorite you think so far between acting, writing, producing? Is there one that sticks out the most, your favorite?
It's so hard because I love each of them for so many different reasons. I love acting because that's like, one of my first loves. So I love performing. I love bringing characters to life. I love writing because I think there's a lot to be said just in general. And so I think it's really fun to have that opportunity. And then I
Mm.
love producing because I don't have to like dress up. Like,
Everybody says that.
in all fairness, that's truly what it was. It was like, oh, I can just wear sweatpants to work and like kind of just do whatever, and I don't have to like put on makeup or worry about putting on makeup, and I can like just work and have my work like not be about me. So it's
Yeah.
really nice to kind of have that separation as well. And I think that also is what helps me reset my love for the industry to be able to like try different things.
Mm. What's your ultimate goal now? What's next on that list where you want to check off the
I mean, finish a script would be great.
TV
So
or movie script, you think?
that's hard. I feel like I would like to do one of both. I think
Mm,
that would be good. Right now, I think I'll work on like a series script. So I'll do like a pilot and then like I can check that off for my New Year's resolutions and then definitely do like a feature after. But it's such a different like breakdown of how you like write than it is to
mm,
like write a novel or to write like a short story. So it's been really fun to kind of understand what I need to be paying attention to, and I'll like watch a bunch of movies or a bunch of shows and see the way that they're formatted and kind of be like, "Oh yeah, that's cool. Like that's a different way of doing it," or like this is what makes a story flow. So I definitely want to have a finished product. I think that would be really fun, and then hopefully work on something that I wrote.
mm. Now, would you want to work in your own project that you write, you think, or you want to just be behind the scenes for something like that?
I think it depends. I think if it's a project that I have written for myself, then I
Right.
probably will do it.
Yeah.
But there's definitely projects that I want to write where I don't want to be in them because I also think it's really wonderful to, you know, not make it all about you and to,
Yeah.
bring up other talented artists in whatever way, shape, or form that is. And so I would like to, spread the wealth and kind of
Right.
focus on one thing instead of like wear like 17 different hats all the time.
Well, it's kind of cool too, because you can write something and just make a little part for yourself because you just want to be a part of it, and then have everybody else have the fun with it.
Exactly.
What do you think has been like your biggest accomplishment so far in your career, in your young career?
In my career, oh, that's a great question.
I have to put you on the
um,
spot. I have to put you on the spot.
Yeah, you really did. I think, to be honest, for me, everything I've worked on has been like a huge milestone moment for me.
Mm,
So, like when I was 11, I like booked Rookie Blue, and that was my first job ever, and that
mm,
was huge because I had done like 3 auditions at that point. Or Degrassi was like very pivotal for me. I feel like that was really the project that kind of put me on the map and kind of, you know, um justified me in like the industry as a performer. And so I was so grateful to be able to work on that for 4 seasons, to have a character that had such a wonderful arc and so much depth and so many, there's just so much to the character that I played in
mm,
Degrassi, which was Esme. And so, and to do that at such a young age as well, like I was 17, 18 when I was playing her. So I'm just like so happy to be able to do that. And then to be in Ginny and Georgia, which is like a global scale, it's just like absolutely mind boggling. And then to be able to write and produce on Ezra was something that I really never thought that I would be able to do so early on in my career. So for me, everything kind of has like a little bit of a
amazing.
like pivotal moment. So I'm really grateful for everything that I've
Mm.
done.
You said auditioning. I have to know, are you a fan of live auditioning or self-tape?
I love self-tapes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard. Being in the room is really nice if you're like at like a later stage where there's actually time for the casting director, the director, whoever's there to actually give you notes. So
Mm,
doing a live audition, I've done like Zoom auditions that I love
okay.
because you actually get feedback back and then you actually have a chance to, do another take taking their feedback and you can show your skill, right? But I was getting so burnt out from like traveling across the city like 3 times a day to
Yeah.
like go to this audition, to go to that audition, to go to that audition. And half the time it's just to like tape you, right? So there's not really any difference.
Yep. There you
Sorry, there she goes.
go.
She loves being super scary when like she thinks somebody's near the house, but like it's never, she's like the kindest little dog ever. It's ridiculous. Um, but anyways, I was just getting really burnt out with all of the traveling. And for me, I think it's so important to feel comfortable doing an audition. And for me, that's doing it at home with my own stuff. And I think I
Mm,
get the best quality out of being comfortable being at home and doing it there.
mm. The thing about like self-tape too is like, and leave it like live edition. I always wonder, like live edition, when you go and do it, you feel great. You might have done good and everything, but like the self-tape, you have to wonder sometimes too, have they watched it? Did they not watch it? You ever wondered like that sometimes too?
For sure. But the thing is like that's the same with doing it live because
Okay.
sometimes you're only doing the audition with a casting director and then a reader, and
Okay.
like the director or the writer, they won't be in the room. So the casting director might see it, but it would never get farther than that.
Mm,
So I feel like it's one of those things where you kind of you're always playing that game. And so as long as
yeah,
you put out your best work and you have a team under like beside you around you that works for you, then that's one of those things you kind of just have to put your trust into, which sucks
right,
because if you think about it, it gets really stressful. But as long as you basically as long as you don't think about it, it's fine.
right, right. So yeah, let's jump into Ginny and Georgia season two. Season one debuted in 2021. Like that was, I'm trying to even remember now. Did you film this during COVID? Season one?
No, season
Was it
one was filmed end of 2019.
okay? And it premiered in 2021. Is that what it
Yeah,
was?
because it had to be delayed with us like shutting down and everything.
Yeah. How did it feel coming back to film season two after even taking such a long break?
Season two was so nerve-wracking. I remember before we started, I was like texting a few people and I was like, I don't know what it's gonna be like. Like, are we all gonna get along still? It's been so long. And we were all kind of either just hitting 18 in our early 20s and then now it's like 2 years later, so that age range is such
Mm,
like you grow in spades, right? So I was like, is
yeah.
everyone going to be the same? Are we all going to be different? Like, what is this going to look like? And we were filming, I think our first day was filming in the hallway at school, and we all showed up and everyone's like, hey, what's up, super nervous. And then we did our scene and it was kind of this moment of relief, and we all were like, oh, it's fine, like everything is the
Right.
same, like everybody's still wonderful, we're all super excited about the show, we've like caught up, and it just was really nice to know that the core of what was there was still there and that we didn't really have to worry about that.
So I mentioned, like it's number one on Netflix right now. What do you think makes this show so special and people are tuning in to watch it?
I think what makes Ginny and Georgia so special is that it has something for everyone. And also, I feel like a lot of the characters are very real, if that makes
Mm,
sense. I I haven't seen a lot of high school shows that like show kids like goofing off in a way that's
yeah.
like nobody's watching. And I think what I really like about that dynamic is when you're watching it, you feel like you're there in that school with them. You don't feel like you're watching a bunch of like glamorous high school students.
Right.
So I love that we all just get to like play off of each other. We all get to say like random stuff, and sometimes it makes it in, sometimes it doesn't. And I think that the dynamic between the mother and daughter is something that so many people can relate to in terms of like family dynamics. And then you also have the mystery. You also have the like hardships of Georgia's past life. So I think with all of the flashbacks and like the young generation, the like adult generation, you have
Yeah.
so many different stages of life being presented at the same time that it's so intriguing for so many different people because it's either nostalgia for your high school days or it's like anticipation for what's to come.
And you mentioned like these high school like TV shows and like that. You ever watch one sometimes and you go like, high school was never like this. That never
Yeah.
really happened. It's like, and then you see it on a TV show, you're like, come on.
Oh, for sure, for sure. And I'm sure there's stuff in Ginny and Georgia that people are like, this doesn't happen. Schools don't have beanbag chairs for like
Right.
people to just sit on. But yeah, I definitely, I know we try really hard to kind of stay true to like the debauchery that happens in high
Mm.
school.
So we see you as Nora. How do you prepare yourself to get into this character and what do you love about her?
I love Nora. I think she's so sweet. I think her heart is always in the right place. She really cares about her friends. She loves them dearly. She loves Jordan, even though she complains about him all of the time. Um, and I just think that it's been really nice to play somebody who you can really see like her intentions, and her intentions
Mm,
are always focused on other people. And I think that's very refreshing to see, especially at that age, because everybody is growing, everybody's changing, everybody's very self-centered. Like teenagers are so self-centered. It's fine.
right.
We all know this. So I think it's really nice to see her, kind of balancing her own like world with, prioritizing her friends and prioritizing her girlfriends especially.
Mm. What do you love about her though?
Um like what do I love about her?
Like the character. Is there anything like you would change about her if you could?
Oh, I would definitely give her more of a backbone. Like I love that she can still be sassy to her friends, but she always like kind of curves it a little bit because she doesn't want
Mm,
to be a part of the chaos. But I would definitely give her a little bit more of a backbone. I think she is doing that in season two. But I think it would be nicer for her to kind of stand her ground a little bit
yeah.
more.
You mentioned friends. You know, you're part of the main group there. How do you describe now, like that relationship between you and the group?
Between NORAH in the group or
Yeah,
like
yeah,
us filming?
both actually.
So us filming is pretty much the same. Like we we all just like riff off of each other when like they always give us like a few beats off of the top of a scene to kind of just like say whatever we want and we'll like
Mm,
improv it and then like work our way into the scene. So it's been really fun because those girls are so wonderful to work with. Everybody is so talented and it's so cool to see what happens when you put people together and let them like work with each other. So that's been really amazing. And then in terms of NORAH in the group, I think it's been really fun to see that kind of develop because in season one, Jenny's not really a part of it until
yeah.
like kind of the second half, and it's still like Ginny and it's still Ginny and Max, and then Abby and NORAH. And so I think in season two, there's a lot more scenes where it's kind of a little bit more cohesive, and so it's nice to see that friend group just kind of like blossom together as a unit.
Mm. You mentioned Jeannie also is played by Atonia. Like now between Nora and Jeannie, would you say there's like a little tension between them also?
I don't know if it's tension. It's just more of like I said, NORAH's priorities are always the group.
Yeah.
And so I think for NORAH, anything that happens that like isn't prioritizing the group is always kind of like what's going on. So I don't want to say that it's tension. It's just more of like misunderstanding at this point, I guess, and
Mm.
kind of just waiting to see like how that kind of like comes to resolve itself.
What do you think's been your favorite Nora moment so far?
My favorite NORAH moment, I think, is when I'm in the classroom with like Katie and Jordan and Press and Brody, and I'm just like ripping on Jordan. I just think that it's really fun to kind of see her like stand her ground with her boyfriend, especially, which I think is something that is really nice to see on TV. And then to just also see her like bonding moments with Abby and her just, confiding in a friend and being like, he's being so annoying and like I don't like this right now. So
Yeah.
I think that's been really fun.
If somebody came up to you and said we want to do a Nora spinoff, would you ever want to do that?
Oh yeah, heck yeah. Nora figure skates. How fun would it be for her to figure skate?
Right.
I
And
think
even
that'd be
or even like the college years, you guys go to college and
oh yeah. That'd be so much fun. Oh yeah, I'd definitely do that.
favorite character on the show other than yours.
Favorite
And
character
what
on the
and
show
why?
other than mine and why? Definitely Joe. Uh and also Padma, but I'm gonna focus on Joe because I just think there's so much there that we like have barely touched the surface of with like his flashbacks that we're now starting to see and like where all of his like fighting and like bad boy energy is coming from. But then he also has a horse named Milkshake. But then he's like irrevocably in love with Georgia. I just think his character is so dramatic. And I love that because he really tries to pretend like he's not dramatic at all. So he's definitely one of my faves.
That's awesome. If we see a season 3, who would you want to have more seeds with that you haven't really worked with the last 2 seasons?
Definitely in terms of high school, Padma. And then in terms of adults, I would say Cynthia because I think
Mm.
she's fun.
Now, is there something else you would love to see for your character, like more of a backstory, or even in the future?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I would love to see her relationship with her mom a little bit more because I
Okay.
think there was stuff in season one and season two where they definitely get along, but I just want to see what she's like at
Mm,
home with her parents. You know what I mean? Because
yeah.
we get to see that with Ginny and Max and Abby, and I think it'd be really interesting to see if like NORAH is still the like good girl at home, or if maybe she's like more bratty at home because she like is going through it with her mom and like what do those fights look like.
So, Ginny Georgia season 2 on Netflix. Now, what's next for you, Chelsea? Any other projects you're allowed to tell us about that you're about to work on or coming out?
Yeah, I mean, There's always stuff going on. The winters are so dead though. So if you ever ask anybody that question in the winter, just assume that it's like low season. Not a lot that I can talk about, but I definitely am excited to see, what comes out in the next year and also just kind of develop myself as like an artist and as like hopefully a writer more.
Amazing. Chelsea, lastly now, how can the listeners, the viewers find you on social media to keep up with you?
Yeah, I'm on Instagram at Chelsea Clark with two S's because Chelsea Clark with one S was taken. And then I am on TikTok, but I haven't been posting a lot. So if anybody has ideas on what I should do on TikTok, that'd be great. And then, yeah, I'm technically on Twitter, but I don't ever look at it. So Instagram would be the way to go.
There you go. Chelsea, I want to thank you for giving me a few minutes today. This was great.
Yeah, of course. Thank you so much for having me.